What's the history of the monument?
Yeah. I think that there's it holds an incredible significance to American history all around. During the Civil War, we have a kind of this turning point for the history of African Americans in this country. Stemming out of abolitionists like Frederick Douglass, we have this opportunity for freedom and liberation for the African Americans, as they are told if they fight in the war, they'll be able to get their freedom. So we have so many African Americans who are joining the war for the Union solely for the fact that they're promised freedom afterwards. And I think this monument does an excellent job at representing those who were giving their lives for their family, and those who loved this country, even though it had done quite the job at beating them up. But they fought for the Union, and they were wanting to get freedom for themselves and pursue the right thing as a nation. And so, as we see, there's all kinds of names around this monument that represent the soldiers who were brave enough for fighting for what was right and fighting for what was American, in the fact that they understood freedom was and equality for all was the most American thing that they could stand for and fight for, despite the South's desire to keep them enslaved.
And what does the monument ask the viewer to remember or commemorate?
This monument was dedicated to the African Americans that fought in the Civil War, and it was actually made for them, like as in, it was made just particular for them to remember them for what they did and to free themselves from the slavery.
What are the visual elements of the monument in terms of the sculpture and paintings?
Yeah. So you can start here, like looking at the soldiers. I mean, from what I can see, it looks like a timeline almost. So just showing progression of African American people, serving during the different wars that America has been a part of.
Yeah, definitely.
This part up here, I mean, I'm sure you could be interpreted as a lot of different things, but just how the way I see it is like all men are created equal, and God was watching over them.
Everyone just fights together.
Everyone fights together. For one nation under God.
Yeah.
And the artist chose to do hand building work, as opposed to using a lot of there's not a lot of tools or that kind of stuff.
There's definitely
that's
like
used
industrial
in this.
techniques that could be used, but they just decided to go like hand
building.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's I think it's significant to the work that the African American community did. I think what he was speaking of, as far as the African American community and the labor intensive role of their work.
Yeah, totally.
All right.
Perfect, thank you. What written texts or texts are part of the monument, and what's their original context?
The names of fallen soldiers border the monument. They're a tribute to the soldiers who gave their lives for our country, the African American significance of our culture.
Visual and written elements of the monument interact.
I think they combine nicely. The amount of names on the plaques really put some weight behind the enormity of the participation of African Americans, and then the visuals of the actual soldiers help you kind of personify some of those names.
How does the monument appeal to ethos, logos, and pathos?
It appeals to pathos because so many people paid the ultimate price and risked their lives for this country and their freedom. And it appeals to logos because like on this side it's the soldiers, and then on the inside right here it's like their families, and like they're basically like protecting their families so they can live better and stuff.
Interesting.
And it appeals to ethos because this is like a historically black neighborhood, so they would relate most to this cause of the Civil War.
As opposed to what?
As opposed to I don't know, maybe in like Tenleytown or something like that, but a lot of people here could appreciate it more.
What is the geographical space of the monument? Is it sacred? Is it cultured? Is it psychological?
It's probably all of those things, depending on where you come from. I mean, historically, the U Street corridor, being what they used to call Black Broadway, was the most prolific African American residential district in the country, let alone in DC. So, the history that's taken place here makes it sacred, especially for the African American community in Washington D.C., but also what it represents, for the country, in terms of people that were a part of our nation's capital, worked to build the country that we have, died to gain the freedoms that we enjoy today.
How does the viewer experience the monument? How do you think people in the community or residents view the monument?
As a person from DC, I've been living in DC all my life. I love looking at it. I couldn't see DC without it. Like I don't know no other way. That's like our best landmark. You know what I'm saying? Almost better than the White House and Capitol. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But I really don't think people in the community really pay it too much of a big concern. It's not a big concern until, I guess something was to happen with it or something. But then it's not really important